Rose, 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 will I ever see thee wed? I will marry at thy will, sire. Rose, rose, rose. Rose McGowan. As described by the Internet Movie Database, she is an American actress known for her sex appeal and contribution to independent cinema. But if you scratch the surface, which is what Sync Film does, there's quite a bit more there than is at first obvious. What initially jumped out at me when viewing Rose McGowan's filmography was the literary nature of her work, especially a pair of films which are set to be released in the near future. We obviously haven't seen these films yet, but a synchronistic viewing of her previous work should give us some idea what we can expect from the upcoming cinematic adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart and Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. Which brings us to Dead Awake, which can be read as Waking the Dead, or as the three words, Dead Awake.
It's not actually dead.
You are dead, you just don't know it. You believe it so intensely that you've become real to yourself.
Let's have my funeral then. All the Guinness you can drink says nobody shows up at my wake.
The literary associations between this film and the story of an Irishman showing up to his own funeral can't help but evoke the spirit of Joyce's Finnegan's Wake.
Undoubtedly the ugliest corpse I've ever seen. He probably would look better 6 feet under.
With an obvious nod to the Wake's parallels to the story of Christ. Actor Nick Stahl fakes his own death in an attempt to see who will attend his funeral. Rose McGowan is the first guest, attending out of guilt for her role in the death of his parents, a fact the true impact of which is only revealed at film's end.
If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry
In this scene from Dead Awake, Rose, in a drug-induced haze, accuses the Nick Stahl character of being back from the dead,
First of all, you need to accept that you're dead.
using as evidence for this a halo, signifying divinity. In the film Rosewood Lane, which has Rose's name all over it, our little Rosie crosses paths with a dog-hating paranormal paperboy. She dispatches said paperboy, hitting him with a car, catapulting him into the air, and impaling him Christ-style upon the world tree. This rose and wood theme is, of course, reinforced by the very name of the film. To understand the full implications of Rose's relationship to these themes, we will need to explore some of the stars who surround her.
What kind of beast couldn't get along with a precious little girl like this?
Like Nick Stahl.
Must be awfully scared now. Got nothing to be scared of.
In Robert Rodriguez's Sin City, Stahl goes up against Bruce Willis, each continually mistaking the other for dead.
Jesus went to visit his sick friend Lazarus, but he was too late, and Lazarus was already dead.
This guy smells awful.
But instead of just grieving for him, he resurrected him.
While Mr. Stahl and Mr. Willis compete for the title of He Who Dies Harder, We will investigate the image of the car as a vehicle for traveling through time, or beating death, or being in two places at once. Pay close attention to this clip from Rosewood Lane and the theme of killing time as Rose travels ghost-like through the scene. Following Bruce Willis for a moment in his 12 Monkeys Jesus t-shirt, we watch him as he is gunned down in front of his younger self, essentially showing up to his own funeral. In 2000's The Kid, Willis meets his younger self yet again and travels back to 1968 through a tunnel somewhere in the Hollywood Hills with his dog-loving child self to correct the mistakes of his past.
Time travel has not yet been invented, but 30 years from now, it will have been.
Bruce Willis is dead. He just doesn't know it yet.
I see dead people. The Walking Dead are all around us. I feel bad for you. You're just trapped in purgatory. It really could go either way for you.
Just like Bruce, Rose pulls a sixth sense in Dead Awake when she sees her own tombstone and realizes she died in the accident with Nick Stahl's character's parents. This same attention to defying death in a car accident is given to McGowan's character in the TV show Charmed, which features Rose as one sister in a triad of witches whose power lies in a secret book of spells. This literary theme is reinforced by Rose's character's name, Paige, and then again in the episode A Page from the Past, where Rose Page opens a door to the past like a book to make sense of her parents' death in a car accident that she survived. Traveling through time via a wardrobe-esque portal, this witch is accompanied by a character named Leo, the lion, when she discovers that her survival was due to her ability to non-localize, or be in two places at one time. This lends significance to Rose's role in Tarantino's Death Proof, where Kurt Russell's car is symbolically beyond death. Rose is this film's sacrificial lamb, spending copious screen time with Stargater Elvis Resonator Russell, who takes her for a deadly ride in his ironically death-proof vehicle.
Dude fucking cut himself falling out of his time machine.
Doth the cowboy protest too much?
Is that cowboy wisdom?
I'm not a cowboy.
He's not a cowboy. He's the cowboy.
You tell him I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear?
He's quoting the Bible.
Hell's coming with me!
Revelations. Behold, a pale horse. The man who sat on him was death. And hell followed with him.
Tombstone is stacked with all kinds of interesting characters, most notably Powers Booth, who is also Sin City's Senator Rourke, father to Junior, and the one who brings Bruce Willis back from the dead.
You smell that, Bill? Smells like someone died. Jesus,
And then there's Michael Biehn, who, in Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror, note the Tombstone, leads a ragtag group, including McGowan, against an army of virally infected undead commandos whose leader is Willis. This is Rose's most iconic role. In it, she is impregnated with a post-apocalyptic Jesus baby by 6 Feet Under TV star Freddie Rodriguez. Leo, the lion, tattooed upon his chest.
I'd never miss.
In 1984's Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger travels through time to the Griffith Park Observatory in the Hollywood Hills to find Bill Paxton, who we just saw buried in Tombstone. Michael Biehn follows the dog-hating Terminator through time, visually being born again.
Come with me if you want to live.
He fills Linda Hamilton's belly with another Jesus baby, later played by Nick Stahl.
You bastard! Stop the car!
Stahl is once again a car-wrecking bastard, and as John Connor is another JC Resonator. He's put into his mother's empty casket to rise once more from the grave.
Now, you were about the closest thing to a father I ever had.
Arnold has, of course, fathered many Jesus babies, including one named Junior. The theme continues, as here we're watching Charmed as Rose welcomes her nephew, fathered by Leo, into the world as a halo radiates. He's time-traveling, he's apocalyptic, and his name is Wyatt.
This is no dream, this is really happening!
A child?
Yes.
What kind of a child?
He chose you out of all the world, out of all the women in the whole world. He chose you. He arranged things because he wanted you to be the mother of his only living son.
It can't be! No!
Look at his hands and his feet.
Listen to me, Big Ape. You have to get up. Because you're gonna be a father.
I love you, son.
Lionesque Hellboy Beast Proman and former Governator and Conan the Barbarian Schwarzenegger guide us back to Rose as she lends her voice and likeness to the Xbox 360 rendition of Terminator Salvation as
Angie! Come on, get your head together. Help the others.
in which she sacrifices herself yet again for John Connor,
Connor! I have faith in you!
who we can imagine as Nick Stahl.
Angie.
Finally, Rose arises in another work of literature, Conan the Barbarian, in makeup echoing her Charlie Manson, Marilyn Monroe resonating rock star ex, and guiding us as Sync always does back to reality. Can we expect themes of death and resurrection to persist in The Telltale Heart and The Bell Jar? Come on, what do you think? Rose.